Step into the darkness where reality blurs and nightmares come alive. The abandoned circus tent stood like a decaying relic from a forgotten era, its faded red and white stripes barely visible through the thick overgrowth that surrounded it. For years, it had loomed on the outskirts of town, a dark and foreboding presence that whispered tales of horror and tragedy to all who dared to listen. And yet, despite the warnings and the rumors that swirled around it like a shroud, a group of teenagers had decided to explore its depths, drawn by the promise of adventure and the thrill of the unknown. Little did they know that their curiosity would unleash a terror beyond their wildest nightmares. I was among them, a reluctant participant in their reckless scheme. As we approached the dilapidated tent, a sense of unease settled over me, as if the very air around us crackled with an energy that I couldn't quite place. But I pushed aside my misgivings, unwilling to show weakness in front of my friends. The entrance to the tent yawned open before us, its tattered fabric flapping in the breeze like a beckoning hand. With a nervous glance at one another, we stepped inside, our footsteps echoing off the empty seats and faded canvas walls. The interior of the tent was a maze of shadows and dust, the air thick with the scent of decay and mildew. We moved cautiously through the dimly lit corridors, our senses on high alert for any sign of danger. As we explored further, we stumbled upon remnants of the circus's former glory, a rusted trapeze swing hanging from the ceiling, a cracked and faded poster advertising long-forgotten performances, and a collection of weathered props scattered across the floor. But it was what lay at the heart of the tent that filled us with a sense of dread, a small stage bathed in an eerie blue light, its spotlight casting long shadows that seemed to dance with a life of their own. As we approached the stage, a chill ran down my spine, and I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end. It was as if we had stumbled upon the epicenter of the tent's dark power, a place where the veil between the living and the dead was at its thinnest. And then, as if on cue, we heard it, the sound of soft laughter echoing through the empty space, followed by the scrape of footsteps on the wooden floorboards. We froze, our hearts pounding in our chests as we strained to see through the darkness. And then, emerging from the shadows, we saw it, a figure clad in tattered clown attire, its face obscured by a grotesque mask painted in garish hues of red and white. It moved with an unnatural grace, its movements fluid and sinuous as it advanced towards us. With a cry of terror, we turned and fled, our footsteps echoing off the walls of the tent as we raced towards the exit. But the laughter pursued us, growing louder and more malevolent with each passing moment, until it seemed to fill the entire space, drowning out all other sound. We burst out of the tent into the cool night air, our chests heaving with exertion as we collapsed on the ground, the sound of our ragged breathing mingling with the distant echo of laughter that still rang in our ears. As we caught our breath and gathered our wits, we knew that we had narrowly escaped a fate worse than death. The haunted circus tent had claimed many victims over the years, and we had come dangerously close to joining their ranks. From that day forward, the abandoned tent remained a forbidden place, a reminder of the horrors that lurked within its walls. And though we tried to put the events of that night behind us, we knew that we would never forget the terror of the haunted circus tent.